Hello, my friends. Evolutionary Energy Arts family, take two, as our microphone was mysteriously shut off last time. It's really kind of unusual.
Yeah, and my throat chakras here going crazy, so they don't want this out, we can tell.
Well, we're talking about Three Gorges Dam. We see Chinese authorities admit that it has moved, leaked, and distorted. That's not good. With 400 million underneath, this thing in the path of where the water would go. That's crazy. And on the same day, the dam saw its most severe flooding of the year. And not only that, we see over here from Zero Hedge, after slamming Western media hype, Chinese officials issue the highest flood alert as Three Gorges Dam is pushed to its limits. And there's people that think that, well, I see comments in some social circles, let's say, where they're talking about the Wuhan lab being flooded from the waters from this. Is this also part of what they're doing, trying to wash away any evidence of anything there?
You'd think that would work pretty good, actually.
And I wonder how much of this is weather warfare too, because we have that capability. I've done videos showing declassified weather modification instruments that go way back, to pre-World War II even. And, of course, what we have now is mind-blowing. I got to wonder, is this part of the Cold War, or is this completely just part of the cycle, with the grand solar minimum and the magnetic pole reversal and perhaps Nibiru Planet X Nemesis system, coming into our area? That's one of the big question marks. How much of this is manufactured and how much of this is a natural cycle?
It's really hard to tell the difference between the organic and what's created right now.
And so there's video here showing breached levees trapping 10,000 people in China as the flooding is getting worse and worse and worse. And you just look at the photos, it's pretty incredible. They actually blasted a dam to ease the flooding. And the death toll they're saying is around 150, but I think it's probably quite a bit higher from what we have seen. We had watched a video the other day of 3 people scrambling, and then you look away and you come back and there's only one left trying to get to the roof.
Yeah, that was a devastating video. That was hard to watch.
Yeah, it was very sad, but this is what's going on. It's not just China. Nepal, here we see death toll surpassing 130. The capital of Kathmandu is cut off. So this is what we're starting to get to now, where certain areas are getting cut off from the rest of the mainland, quote unquote. Pretty wild. The flooding is something that is, well, it's just like the times of Noah, as we keep going back to the Bible. But it's not just the Bible. The flood stories are all over the globe. And apparently this happens perhaps at far more regular intervals than we had thought.
That's true. I mean, we don't truly know our history. They wrote it for us.
Yeah, when you look at the way the population has exploded, it makes you feel like, well, maybe there was a major event even 5,000 years ago or so. And then also go back to the Younger Dryas, about 11,700. Very interesting timeline then. Northern Vietnam as well, hit by deadly floods and landslides after longest heat wave in 49 years. So records are dropping left and right. We're going to see some record colds as well. It's just extremes is what we have, and the extremes are getting ever more extreme as we see houses, crumbling and getting swept away. This is India. India is getting very hard hit. Assam, Bihar, just really getting pounded. At least 4 people die here as well. Now, they had their highest 24-hour July rain since 2015. As you see, this tunnel is just about all underwater. And this house collapsed into the drain where it was over flooding. So we look at one road after another just being wiped out. And we're talking about people getting cut off. So that's something to really think about, especially if you're in a flood-prone area.
Yeah, absolutely. You really need to keep an eye out for that.
And we could see, from satellite photographs, the rivers are getting wider and wider and wider. So you have severe floods and mud hit Masamba And this is in Indonesia. And, here they're looking for some help too. Indonesia, they get hit with just about everything as well. They get hit with tsunamis and earthquakes and you name it. They also have flood issues going there, as well as over in Bangladesh. Pretty incredible. And this is where our brother Asa Duzaman is from. It's just flooded out as well.
That looks so scary. I mean, I would look at that. That's hard. How does she live like that?
Yeah, she's just doing what she can, and trying to get by. And with all that water, you're going to have also disease because you're going to have so many mosquitoes and other things developing. Obviously food shortages, disease, we have it all right now in these times. And lightning kills 3 nomads and hundreds of other animals in India. The lightning has been getting more intense. Loss of life due to lightning has been growing as well. And here we're looking at Somalia. So again, from one continent to another, we're seeing a lot of the same. It's causing a lot of people to become nomadic and to just be homeless and nomadic. And there's going to be a lot of hungry people that are in need of help as well. And meanwhile, over in Siberia, we had record temps, 100-degree Fahrenheit temps in the Arctic Circle in Siberia. And you have 47 million acres of land scorched. And the smoke is reaching Alaska from Siberia. And you could see that also from the satellites. It's just wild what we have going on. New and more intense volcanic activity every time we look as well. And we see strong Strombolian activity at Pacaya, new lava flows. This is in Guatemala. And we see powerful seismic swarm near Juneau, Alaska, they believe is glacier related. And we were talking about the West Antarctic ice sheet. Perhaps, it's melting very, very quickly. And we talked about Casey's prophecy of Northern Europe being changed in the twinkling of an eye, which makes me think of like if we lost the Eastern ice sheet. That would be absolutely catastrophic because it's larger than the Western. And the Western is probably melting because of volcanic activity underneath as much as anything. So all that is related. We talked about water weighing roughly 8 pounds per gallon. Think about all the gallons of extra water that we have that are saturating so many different areas. Think about the effects on the crust. And we've learned that there's 2 to 3 times as much water locked up in the crust as is in the oceans of the Earth combined. So is that making its way to the surface? And, what's it all going to look like, say, in 5 to 10 years? And I know there's going to be comments saying there won't be anything in 5 to 10 years. I already hear those comments coming out.
I think there's going to be. It's just going to look really different.
Yeah, everything is going to be made anew. And again, we don't know the complete timeline. I do feel like the biggest thing we have going on, even with these massive Earth changes, and the Earth changes are contributing to the geopolitical situation, but the geopolitical situation is what is right now the most concerning to me, really, because you could hear the drumbeat of war really building. New fault system discovered in southeastern Nepal. Beautiful part of the planet. And I got to wonder about these new faults and all these new discoveries. Is it because of the rapid changes, or is it just stuff we haven't known before? There's definitely a lot of changes going on in the Earth. And this is Marco Island, and beautiful, beautiful area down in Florida. Massive flooding going on there as well, drainage issues. Miami, we saw Miami under a lot of water as well. What could we do if we weren't spending so much money on the militaries of this world, and instead we were trying to, come up with solutions for all these Earth changes that are going on? And this is over in Missouri. This is Jefferson City, Missouri, and we see massive flooding going on there as well. Cars submerged. You got to have a boat wherever you go nowadays. Rare July ground frost sweep the UK and Ireland in the middle of July when we should have Our coldest temps were still getting, very, very abnormal situations. But, abnormal is the new normal, I guess.
It absolutely is. And what do we have here? Sugarcane frozen solid. That's so sad.
Yeah, South Africa mountain ranges record best snowfall in years. And it's the extremes, which are becoming more extreme. And so that locust plague that we were talking about, that was in Africa, the Middle East, going into India, going into China. And we got locusts down in South America, jumping from Argentina to Brazil, heading up north to Colombia, Guatemala, El Salvador, and Belize. They're already reporting that they're there. So Mexico and the U.S. next. And how long will it take? And that's going to obviously add to the crop problems.
And I don't think we've missed anything out of Revelations still.
I agree. And we have a really deep 6.0 in the Fiji area, 602 kilometers. And so we'll look for this energy to go ahead and move either across the Pacific plate or perhaps going up into Indonesia. This could actually end up giving you almost a whole magnitude higher quake, according to what we have learned from our buddy Dutch. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. And this was an interesting spot for a quake. We don't see them in this area, like close to Monterey so often, 4.2. Much more like right along the coast. So this is in a little bit. And there's a curious little swarm in southwestern Utah. There's 10 of them over here right now. A little bit less than what we usually have been seeing in Ridgecrest area. There's only 30 in this whole area right here. And we still have some swarming, but less than what it's been for the most part. 55 west of Tonopah. And still, relatively quiet through Cascadia. There's some quakes up in the Washington State area. And Venus probably has active volcanoes right now. So not all of the hellishly hot planets' volcanoes are dead, a new study suggests as well. And I got to just question, what the mainstream has given us as far as the reality of the planets and, their conditions thereof. I can't wait to look. There were supposed to be some interesting things that were released on the internet, and I know I have an email I got to look at talking about that. There was supposedly a big drop. So, including stuff about perhaps ETs. And I know, there are those believers out there that the earth is flat and there's nothing else but the earth. There's just a flat earth and there's nothing else out there. No other forms of life. But when we look at the Vedas and the Upanishads and a lot of the Hindu holy books, they actually talk about there being tens of thousands of different forms of humanoid life in our galaxy. So a very different, story there. As well as when we look at, say, for instance, Credo Mutwa, which we have talked about him before, a Zulu shaman, and, his coming out and saying that their legends, they talk all about openly the ET interaction with humans, as do, the Hopi we talked about, being pulled in to the earth when the changes came last time by the ant friends, the Anunnaki. Interesting, isn't it? So we see scientists want to supercharge shellfish with nutrients by basically injecting them with a multivitamin, and then you eat it. You eat the shellfish, and then thus you're eating the multivitamin.
I don't really have a problem with that, I don't think, because I know people who put this rock powder on their gardens to give their vegetables and fruit more minerals and vitamins.
Well, I guess the question would be, is it all natural? Is it synthetic? So if you're talking things that are natural, come from Mother Nature, then I don't have a problem with it. If it's synthetic, who knows what's in there? Dyes, fillers, nanotech, creepy crawly little things are going to go wriggling around in your bloodstream. Not to freak you guys out, but, I just don't trust. I just don't trust the scientists, honestly, when you get down to it. And certain industries, excuse me, So 300,000 chickens killed following a massive fire And this is in New Jersey at a bird egg farm. That's just a loss that we don't need in these times, let alone, sad for the chickens.
Yeah.
It's all adding up. And so these are some supplies that may disappear really quick in a crisis, and we're talking about being prepared. We're keep getting from so many different sources. September events through November. September through November is going to be huge, guys, huge. We got like five weeks, to get ready and for that time period, whatever that brings. So, maybe you thought and got water and food covered, and you're growing stuff. But also, check your first aid supplies, check, the over-the-counter type stuff that you use. Of course, like with us, it would be more of just vitamins and herbs and things like that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different kinds of lists you can go off of too, but I do suggest finding a list online.
Definitely, most definitely. So guys, thank you so much for your support on Patreon and also on Ko-Fi. You guys have kept us going and able to do this with the first channel being demonetized, and then all the, of course, shenanigans that go on all the time with the censorship.
Lots of shenanigans.
As always, my friends, God bless and namaste, and be prepared.
Namaste.